But the big news is always the Eagles, and the Eagles make a signing yesterday with a backup running back, AJ Dillon. A lot of people like it. Game well gone. They bring in another guy, more of a power back. Had a good year a couple years ago. Has a neck situation, which is not really good. But it's a really interesting conversation with the Eagles right now on how Eagle fans feel about how they're going to be. Now, they shed some players. And there are a lot of people around the NFL that go, well, you know what, you can't keep these players. That's the reality of the NFL. But they're certainly not going to be the same team that they were last year. And then there are other people that say, what are you talking about? We got God as our general manager. Howie Roseman. He has built this team. He knows what he's doing. He's got tricks up his sleeve. We're going to be fine. We're going to be a contender. Now, I don't know. I'll look at it when I actually see it. But it does seem that there is some blind faith in Howie Roseman. It's funny because when you looked at the trade of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the original reaction, I think, the majority reaction from Eagle fans, what are you doing? And then a little bit later, they start to go, well, hey, it's Howie. He knows what he's doing. They're not gonna even skip a beat. They're gonna fill in that position admirably. They got Sidney Jones there. They probably got a draft pick up their sleeve. There's probably some guy they want to sign down the road. It's blind faith in Howie Roseman. And when you look at the free agent signings that Howie has made, I don't know. We got Bill Colarulo here, and guess who's back? Ray Dunn back in the saddle. So I'll ask both of you fellas. First of all, Bill, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Ray.
Hey, how are you?
Excited to have Ray back.
Ray's back. So let's look at this particular situation here. Bill, you evaluate Howie Roseman now, and he showed his hand what they're going to do. They shed some players, and the notion is that they're going to be fine, that he's going to replace it. He's got a trick up his sleeve. He's the great Howie. They're all knowing. But when you look at the free agent signings, they haven't been that spectacular. So how do you feel right now? Where should the Eagle fan base be, and where do you think they are?
I think a majority of the fan base is the blind faith fan who says, oh, it's Howie Roseman. They'll figure it out. But I think where fans should be is more of that cautiously optimistic view of this football team. They've lost a lot of players. And even though it was anticipated, it doesn't make it any easier to replace these guys. But the reason I say I would lean more towards the optimism than to be the pessimist is because of the quarterback situation. And I mentioned to you off air, I think when you look at any football team in the NFL, the first question I always ask is, do they have a quarterback that could lead them to a Super Bowl victory? And I think if you look up and down the NFC, there are only a handful of teams that have a quarterback that I would put in the Super Bowl caliber type of quarterback. And clearly, because Jalen Hurts just did it, he's one of those quarterbacks. So even though the defense is going to take a step back, I think it's inevitable. You can't expect every single one of these younger guys to step up and replace the Milton Williams, the Josh Sweats, the Darius Slays, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. You're asking a lot. But at the end of the day, you have a quarterback and you have an offense that is clearly capable of winning you a Super Bowl. That's why I'm leaning more towards the optimism. But the people who keep waiting for Howie Roseman, oh, he's going to make a big move. He's going to do something. I don't know if that's the case because of there is a salary cap. We always say salary cap doesn't exist with Howie Roseman. Well, clearly it does, and that's why they're making some of the decisions they've made.
So I said yesterday, does Howie slyly, he puts his head on a pillow, go, yeah, guess what? This is a gap year. I got to get the cap in line. We can fudge all we want that we're this contender, but we did lose some players. The priority is to get the cap in line. I got a lot of decisions to be made on guys up the road. We got to just kind of stay in there. We don't have to be the contender this year. I have bought myself some leeway and some capital with the fan base. We just won a Super Bowl. People can't possibly be outraged if we're kind of in the hunt, but maybe we don't pull it off this year. I mean, does he have that safety pinned with him?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think the fan base isn't going to be as critical considering that they won the Super Bowl. But when I look at Howie Roseman and I hear him talk, I don't think he's the type of guy who says, yeah, we won, so we're okay. I do think he's just as competitive and just as aggressive as the fans want him to be. I'm sure they want to repeat. I'm sure he wants to do everything in his power to repeat. But we keep talking about there's a lot of guys on this roster that still need to get paid, that still need new contracts. You know, Jordan Davis, they got to make a decision on. Cam Jurgens, they have to make a decision on. We know how much they like Reed Blankenship. He probably needs an extension. I don't think he has any guaranteed money left on his deal. And then when you're looking another offseason ahead, you got the Jalen Carters and the Nolan Smiths of the world. So I think it's up to Howie Roseman to always be 2 steps ahead, whereas fans sometimes we want immediate gratification. We want, oh, no, go get this guy. Go get Myles Garrett. Go get Trey Hendrickson. You can't necessarily do that even if you have the cap space this year because of what it means for next year and the year after.
All right, so give me your grade on AJ Dillon and what they did to get the backup running back.
Well, the big thing with AJ is his health. He missed all of last season with that neck injury. He had a neck stinger that bothered him. He was out all year. But that could also be a positive because if the neck's okay, you know he's got fresh legs. Mm-hmm. He's still relatively young. He's a good receiver out of the backfield. He's good in pass protection. And he's 250 pounds. Mm-hmm. So my initial reaction to it was, imagine being a defense, and now you're putting all your effort into trying to stop Saquon Barkley. And then when he goes out, waves his hand for the breather, all of a sudden you got 250-pound A.J. Dillon coming in. That's demoralizing, man. So I like the move because, yes, you have Will Shipley, but Saquon had close to 500 touches last year. When you include the playoffs and you include his receptions, you're going to need to rely on some other guys. So if A.J. Dillon is healthy, I like the move a lot. Young, he's got size, he's shown an ability to make some plays in Green Bay. I like it, but it's not this. You know, some people, I think, overreact. Like, I see fans going one way or the other, like, this is the greatest move ever, and then I see people saying it's the next Rashad Penny. It's a backup running back. I think it's a good move.
And you got to, listen, you brought it up yesterday. Saquon Barkley has a lot of carries. You want to keep him away from all these carries because you never know when a running back will get banged up. Are you more secure that this guy would have to play a couple games if Saquon is injured than Kenneth Gainwell?
It's interesting. I mean, I was higher on Kenny Gainwell than I think a lot of people were. I liked Kenny Gainwell, but I think when you look at Will Shipley and Kenny Gainwell, similar sized back, similar skill sets. So I like the A.J. Dillon move because he's a bigger back that you're adding to that running back room. But I would think if Saquon had to miss some time, let's knock on wood that doesn't happen, I don't think A.J. Dillon would necessarily become that every down back. I think you'll have a mix between him and Will Shipley.
So you're kind of lukewarm on it.
Yeah, but I'm okay with it. They need a depth there.
Let's go to Ray Dunn. He hasn't been here in a long time. Like, what, 147 days we haven't seen Ray. Yeah, he's back today. Ray, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
You look different.
He looks tired. He looks tired.
Maybe.
No, you look different than what we remember you from 10 days ago.
That's probably true. Yeah, it's been a while.
Ray, I want to get your opinion on here. You've been studying this from afar, this salary cap situation and what they're doing. What is your overall opinion on how the fan base should feel right now?
Concerned? I'll be honest with you.
Are you concerned?
I'm a little bit concerned. Like, I think it's just from the fact of maybe I had some unrealistic expectations of what they were going to be able to do. I think the C.J. Gardner-Johnson trade was the one that was like, oh, that's what he meant by patience this offseason. If they're trying to shed money, I was big in the, hey, your window's right now. These young guys that you have to pay eventually, you have to pay eventually. Let's go all in for it right now. His long-term approach to me is not the way I anticipated this offseason going, and I thought the patience thing was more of a, oh, yeah, Sweat will be gone, Williams will be gone. Just be patient, we'll find the replacements. No, it kind of seems like he's reshaping a roster that we all said was the best one the Eagles have ever had. So I'm concerned that's not a back-to-back type situation.
I'm a little concerned myself, and I'm going to tell you as we go into the break, but I'm also concerned. This is a latent concern here. I'm not as optimistic about the Phillies as a lot of people are. And I was reading the story about, like, throughout the league, the suggestions that, maybe the Phillies have had that peak. And with this particular lineup, that's as far as they're going to go. I don't know. I got that queasy feeling all of a sudden, Billy boy.
Uh-oh, man. We need somebody to be optimistic about the Phillies. I actually may be more optimistic than you because of that rotation.
I know you like that rotation, but a rotation can get the little snags in it every now and then. 610-632-0975 is how you get into the show. It's a special Thursday show, the Mike Missanelli Show. Let's hear you on the phone. Let's hear you via text. We're back after this.
Tyrone Johnson.
Hey everybody, it's Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can engage during the show, and you're not going to want to miss all the content that we post. It's not only the live videos, it's videos after the fact. It's our shorts. It's all the content you want as a Philadelphia sports fan. Looking forward to connecting.